expecting miracles until they're commonplace. Magic is the physics in this universe of grace.
What was the other topic? Oh yeah, story. Yeah, I'll just tell. That'll be a good way to end. I'll tell a couple little stories. Before I do, if the forceful attempt to change somebody's beliefs doesn't actually work, how do you change someone's beliefs, or how do you change someone's actions? The habits of force are so deeply ingrained, you know? At the dinner table tonight, one of the statements that came up is, you know, our society, we're so habituated or addicted to instant gratification and instant results, you know? And I felt welling inside me a little bit of shame and the desire, well, I don't want to be like that. The idea that if I make myself ashamed, then I'll make myself stop doing it. You know, and if I make other people ashamed of their consumptive lifestyles, then they'll stop doing that. And if I make people afraid of the consequences of climate change, then they'll behave in a different way. And there's so much shaming that goes on in activist movements, which is a shame because it doesn't work. It only temporarily works. So how do you change someone's beliefs? Or how do beliefs change? Beliefs change when the old belief stops working, or the old story stops working, which is happening now on a mass level as our institutions fall apart. And the story of business as usual, the story of work hard in school, get good grades, go to a good college, get a good job, and live happily ever after. Even if you try to play by the rules, you know, you end up with instead $40,000 of debt and no job, you know. Or the story of, if I'm sick, then I go to the doctor and the doctor fixes me. And if the doctor can't, then I'll go to a specialist, and the specialist will fix me. You know, the medical system is essentially sound and better and better and better. Like that story for a lot of people is falling apart when they go and the doctor says, there's nothing wrong with you, but I hurt everywhere. Well, it must be your imagination. Try some Prozac. Another specialist, another, and finally someone says, oh, it's fibromyalgia. You know, the other doctors haven't heard of that yet, or it's Lyme disease or whatever, but we can't do anything for you. And like, so the world falls apart in a way. So how do you make someone's world fall apart? It doesn't have to be in a violent way. It can also be by providing an experience that just doesn't fit into the story of separation. An experience of receiving generosity, forgiveness, unconditional love. I know this Korean guy, Bao, his name is, he was a militant anti-imperialist protester in the 1980s during martial law in South Korea. Fighting with the police, bricks, Molotov cocktails. The secret police come to his door in the middle of the night and drag him away. Torture him for 60 days until he confesses to being a spy for North Korea. He walks with a limp today. And then they throw him in solitary confinement for the next, I think it was 13 years. And he said, in solitary confinement, my only friends were the flies, and the lice, and the rats, and the cockroaches. Those were his friends. And he learned to actually play with flies. You can actually play with flies. And you know, if you really give a fly attention, it'll let you pet it even. It's true. Like, intelligence is in all things. He said he became an ecologist and a pacifist because he realized that all the violence he experienced was his own violence reflected back at him. And he had an hour every day or every other day in the prison yard where he would go and look at the weeds. And he was able to have writing materials and drawing materials. He couldn't keep anything. He had to only use it for letters. So he would write his thoughts, you know, about his revelations and draw pictures of the weeds and mail them off to his friends. So finally there's an amnesty, you know, in the 90s. He walks out of jail to discover that he's a millionaire because his writings that he sent out were collected into a book called Weed Diary, and it was a bestseller in Korea. So he buys a farm, becomes a farmer. Now he's doing nonviolent direct action. There's the police line, you know. Here's Bao walking up and hugging an officer. And he says, the guy is paralyzed. He just doesn't know what to do. And it's a subtle thing here. It's not like, maybe you're going to beat me, and that'll demonstrate how bad you are and how bad the system is and how pitiable and how good I am. But that's not his motivation. So he becomes super effective. Stuff begins happening around him. There's a fishing village, a 1,000-year-old fishing village that's being destroyed, I think probably right now, to build a U.S. naval base. He just goes there for an hour every morning and every evening and does prostrating meditation again and again and again, over and over and over, full prostrations. doesn't even say why. But other people begin to join it, and they know why. And then it begins to generate national press attention. Then the violent people came in and began throwing Molotov cocktails, and then the media narrative turned into the usual.
Like stories told by fiends, sleep expecting miracles until they're commonplace. Magic is the physics in the universe of grace.